welcome to Beyond the News. I'm your host AYESHA Khan, and in tonight's edition of the program, we will be discussing Envoy's Conference on Economic Diplomacy was held in Islamabad. Chief of Army Staff General Bajwa and U.S. Commander General Scott Miller discussed Afghan peace process. South Africa beat Pakistan by 6 wickets in the first test match. And a story about a successful Japanese entrepreneur who fell in love with Pakistan. But first, our top story tonight, Afghan peace process. United States exit strategy in Afghanistan is facing conundrums as President Donald Trump's troops withdrawal decision now makes Special Representative Zalmay Khalilzad's job much more difficult. The Afghan Taliban have now warned the United States that it would face the same fate as the Soviet Union in the 1980s did if it did not leave Afghanistan. Taliban have been repeatedly handed the leverage as opposed to the Afghan government in the past year with talks held in Switzerland and Russia. But with the troops set to withdraw from Afghanistan, the recognized government will face immense challenges in terms of establishing its roots despite calling for peace. The slow progress made over the past few months might evade due to the imprudent decisions made by Trump administration. In regards to the Afghan peace process, the U.S. commander of NATO forces in Afghanistan, General Austin Scott Miller, met Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa in Rawalpindi. The statement at the end of meeting noted that both the military men expressed unanimous views on the importance of political resolution of the Afghan situation as well as the importance of an Afghan-led peace process for the country. At a separate occasion, General Scott Miller said that his fight against militancy will continue until a political settlement. Similarly, U.S. Ambassador to Afghanistan John Bass echoed his sentiments when he said that the time is still ticking to see if the Taliban is interested in responding to the deep desire of Afghanistan people for long-standing peace. In his recent address, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani said that he appreciates Afghan citizens' patience as well as their will for change, reform, and improvement in terms of governance. He said that the countrymen and women firmly believe in the sanctity of the constitution, which he believes is the only path for peace. Recently, Pakistani Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi completed his fourth nation trip, with Russia being the latest country that he visited. In Moscow, he met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who said that both Pakistan and Russia have common interest in promoting the Afghan peace process. Shah Mahmood Qureshi said that Russia's presence was essential for peace in Afghanistan and that Moscow had legitimate concerns over security and extremism when the influence of Islamic State group in the region was growing. To discuss the topic, we now join senior journalist Rahimullah Yousafzai. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Yousafzai.
Thank you.
So firstly, how has President Trump's troops withdrawal decision affected the Afghan peace process in your opinion?
I think it was leveraged with the U.S. and, it could always tell Taliban that, look, we have this force in Afghanistan and we will continue fighting you. So, this was an advantage because the U.S. clear power is critical, in the war in Afghanistan against the Taliban. So I think maybe that advantage is now not there. They can wait out the withdrawal of the remaining U.S. forces. So I think, it has given maybe some advantage to Taliban. They are now actually claiming, they're very happy that the U.S. has been forced to withdraw 7,000 troops. That is going to happen in some months. And that if they continue fighting, if they can wait a bit longer, maybe the remaining will be gone. So that, I think, is what has happened. And, the U.S. Special Envoy, Zalmay Khalilzad, he has lost that advantage now to Taliban.
Do you think there is greater uncertainty about Taliban's commitments to the peace agenda now that there is no U.S. military backing?
If there is any agreement, if there is any breakthrough in the talks, there would be some guarantors. So, there will be certain countries, for example, maybe the, Pakistanis and the Chinese and the Saudi Arabia and UAE and maybe others, they're asked to become guarantors. And then they will have to ensure that the Taliban fulfills, whatever has been pledged. So I think that, Taliban won't be able to do whatever they want. Uh, they will have to abide by the agreement. I think that it won't be easy for Taliban just to ignore whatever has been committed and whatever has been agreed. Having said that, the ground situation in Afghanistan, the military situation will determine the attitude of all the stakeholders. It won't be Taliban alone, who will think otherwise. The U.S., the Afghan government, others, they're all stakeholders. And, they will also look at the ground realities. And then they will decide, what is in their interest. So I think it can happen on all sides.
Have both the Taliban and the Afghan government expressed willingness to push for a political settlement rather than an imposed one? What is the will of the Afghan people on the matter?
I think the Afghan people want peace. And, that's why they voted Ashraf Ghani into power and also Dr. Abdullah in 2014 because they had promised peace. They had pledged to make a very big effort to bring peace in Afghanistan. They have not been able to do that. Taliban also have been saying, at least on surface, that we also want peace and we are willing to talk to the stakeholders, beginning with the U.S. So I think that we should keep in mind that there has been a conflict in Afghanistan for the last 4 decades, and that's why people are desperate for peace. But I think that, if Taliban are, a bit rigid in their attitude, we can also say that the Afghan government also sometimes is very inflexible. It wants to negotiate with Taliban, but look at their recent decisions. President Ashraf Ghani has appointed 2 people as Interior and Defense Minister who are very anti-Taliban. I mean, Amrullah Saleh and Asadullah Khalid, who have become the Interior and Defense Minister respectively. And they were earlier the head of the Afghan intelligence NDS. They're very anti-Taliban, very anti-Pakistan. So in their presence, I don't expect the Afghan government, to change its very inflexible attitude. It will want peace on its terms. That's why I am a bit skeptical that, the Afghan government and Taliban, they can, make peace with each other.
U.S. General Scott Miller has said that the fight will continue until a political statement is reached. Does that mean that U.S. will not stop combatant missions despite the persistent demands of the Afghan Taliban?
I think because he is the commander of the U.S. and NATO forces, and he has been given this task to win this war. He has been given more power. He has all the air power. The numbers are not very big. There are about 17,000 foreign troops. But they are heavily equipped and they control the skies in Afghanistan. So he has to keep the morale of his troops high. He has to say these things, that they will continue their combat operations. But I think, they all have said publicly that they cannot defeat the Taliban. And if they say this, publicly, that will already, I think, demoralize his own forces and also the Taliban, the Afghan forces. They already are, conceding that Taliban cannot be defeated. So I think it's not going to be easy for him to keep the morale of his troops after suffering all these setbacks on the battlefield. Especially the Afghan security forces have suffered heavy casualties.
All regional countries, including Pakistan, have stated that an inclusive Afghan peace process should be Afghan-led. Do you think that President Ashraf Ghani is taking the right steps towards a favorable conclusion?
I don't think President Ashraf Ghani is taking the right steps. I know he is very angry because, he was kept out from the talks in Qatar and UAE. He even sent his delegation to Abu Dhabi, but Taliban refused to make it. So it was a huge embarrassment. And he's very angry also with Pakistan and the US because he thought they will persuade Taliban to agree to talk to the Afghan government. So because of his anger, he has taken certain steps which are not going to contribute towards peace. For example, I said earlier, by appointing two very anti-Taliban, personalities, Amrullah Saleh and Asadullah Khalid as ministers in his government. It happened surprisingly, it was very abrupt decision. So I think, he has to show patience. Americans are already trying to persuade Taliban to talk to the Afghan government. Pakistanis are trying. Chinese, Saudi Arabia, UAE, everybody is trying to persuade Taliban that they have to talk to the Afghan government. But I think Ashraf Ghani is losing patience. He is very angry, and that's why he is taking certain steps which are not very helpful.
How do you see President Ghani's re-election campaign so far? Do you think that the cabinet shakeups and his speeches will make an impact, or will a new contender emerge soon?
He was the first to announce that he will contest again. And he is in power, so he has got this advantage. He has been also announcing development projects, and he can offer positions to people who are against him or whom he has been trying to win over to his side. For example, Amrullah Saleh and Asadullah Khalid were his critics. They were very anti-Ashraf Ghani, but now they are ministers. So, he has certain advantages. He's, well known in Afghanistan. He's very close to the Americans. Any other candidate will be at a disadvantage. So I think that, he has a good chance, but it's not over yet. Hanif Atmar has also entered the race. He's a former National Security Advisor to Ashraf Ghani. Then we don't know about Dr. Abdullah, whether he will contest again or maybe somebody else from his party, Jamaat Islami, will contest. So there will be, I think, a tough contest. And the elections are still, say, 8-9 months away. So I think anything can happen during this period.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Yousafzai. And now let's move on to a quick break. We'll be back with more news. Welcome back. The two-day Envoys Conference on Economic Diplomacy continued in Islamabad, with further deliberation on ways to enhance trade and investment in Pakistan. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi is chairing the Envoys Moot, and various ambassadors and heads of missions of selected capitals are also participating in this agenda-based conference. The conference is being hosted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with the collaboration of Ministry of Commerce and Board of Investment. Addressing the inaugural session, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said economic diplomacy is need of the hour, and economic revival and growth is at the top of the PTI government's reform agenda. Mr. Qureshi further said that more than half of Pakistan's population is less than 25 years of age, making it larger than 179 countries in terms of demography. The foreign minister also said that Pakistan had one of the largest irrigation systems and is one of the biggest producers of cotton and dairy products. The country even has the largest reserves of coal, salt, and other minerals. Speaking on the occasion, Finance Minister Asad Umar emphasized on enhancing exports and employment, as well as foreign investment to steer the population out of poverty. Mr. Umar said that new and emerging markets for Pakistani products should be our focus. Also speaking at the occasion, Prime Minister's advisor on commerce, Abdul Razak Dawood, said that the conference was aimed at collective efforts for economic development of the country. Razak Dawood said the government was focusing on engineering, chemical and information technology sectors to enhance exports. He said new policy would be introduced for revival and promotion of industrial sector. Now, to further discuss the topic at hand, we are now joined by Mr. Naeem Zamindar, former chairman of the Board of Investment. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Zamindar.
Pleasure being here.
All right, so let me begin by asking you, is it safe to say that Pakistan has had a tumultuous year because you see an increase in trade deficit and a decrease in foreign exchange reserves? Do you believe in PTI's economic reform agenda?
The situation is challenging for anyone, right? But when I was there till last year, till actually May of this year, there was enough momentum in the economy for growth, right? We had 5.8% growth last year, and we were hoping that it would move up to 7% and 8%, so that because where we are, Pakistan is a very young country with a very low GDP, right? And it's ready and ripe for growth. With the youth dividend, we need growth. We need 7-8% growth rate for the next 20 years to really bring us towards prosperity. And to break the momentum, I think what's gone wrong is that a crisis-like situation has been created, which has caused a crisis of confidence in investors. Everybody's nervous, very little work is being done, so it's broken the momentum. Now, getting the momentum back up is not very easy. It's very challenging, and there's a lot of work ahead to be able to move things forward.
So despite negotiations with IMF, Pakistan has also reached out to friendly countries. Do you think Western media and leadership is actually concerned about the unsustainable debt in Pakistan?
It's not unsustainable. You've got to take it in a larger perspective. If you look at it at a really micro level, it's true. I mean, the numbers percentage-wise don't make sense. But where we are in terms of a growth stage, right? We're a low-income country where the young population ready for growth. Our GDP is right now about $300 billion. We need to at least quadruple it over the next 20 years, right? So there's a lot of growth ahead. If you look at it in perspective of the larger growth, companies that are in growth phase, they can borrow. They're investing for the future. Now we need to make sure that whatever we borrow is towards investing for the future to grow our economy. And there is, I don't think anybody should be concerned. We have another solid 20 years of growth. When Shah Mahmood Qureshi said it correctly, half a population is under the age of 25. This is called the youth dividend. Yeah. And if we don't use it, right, we're going to lose opportunity of a lifetime.
So now coming towards Islamabad, do you think it is important for the PTI-led government to have economic diplomacy in order to attract foreign investment?
Yes, we've been weak in this regard. We haven't done a good job. We need to really improve it. We need to make sure every one of our embassies becomes pro-business, is working for the business of Pakistan to grow Pakistan's economy. There was very little focus on the economy. We have commercial counselors in nearly all the embassies. We've got even economic ministers in some of the major capitals of the world. But we haven't been able to really bring them together. We don't brief them fully. For example, one of the things we started in the Board of Investment when I was there was to come up with a quarterly newsletter which would go to all the embassies. They would get informed about all the projects happening, all the good news. We need to be able to tell our story to the world, and we haven't done an effective job in doing so. Pakistan is a country full of potential. I, as an investor, right, feel Pakistan is one of the top destinations, top 5 investment opportunities. There are few countries of our size. We're the 5th most populated country in the world. You don't get such a large economy with so much potential. People will be chasing us down. I think we can get hundreds of billions of dollars of investment over the next decade or so.
Well, what kind of growth model should the government follow, since we see a lot of emphasis on export-oriented growth?
So I think that's a good focus. Clearly, we need to make sure we're able to generate foreign exchange so we can invest in new machines and technology, because that most of it has to be imported. Now, one more factor which I believe needs to really be brought into the policy. We need to develop our own entrepreneurial capacity. We need to make sure our entrepreneurs become the drivers of this growth, right? We need to make sure it's ease of doing business, so it's easier. We need to be the top 50 for that. And number 2, access to capital for our businessmen, especially the new innovative ones which are using technology and innovation, because over the next 20 years, the whole economy is going to change dramatically. And we need to invest in new disruptive ways to transform the economy, whether it's in education, healthcare. And for that, a lot of capital. Venture capital needs to be available, private equity needs to be available, and lending to the small and medium enterprise sector, right? Which has been, the small and medium enterprise is 40% of our GDP right now, right? But only 7% of the lending is done to this sector. So it's not grown. It's got a lot of potential. This is where all the employment will come from. This is where all the growth will come from. The new innovation will come from. Exports will be generated by these guys, but they are really starved for capital.
Do you think Pakistan's uncertainty as well as the macroeconomic challenges here in Pakistan make it difficult for foreign investment?
No, I don't disagree. It does make it difficult, but we need to change that story. Investors are not afraid of risk, right? But they need to see what's the return, right? And also, if the investors look for the future. If they see a country is moving in the right direction, right? They see the potential, they'll invest, right? They're there to take the risk. With risk comes profit. So yes, we need to make sure that we're able to manage and mitigate some of the fiscal deficits and current account deficits, and show people there's a pathway to the future. And number two, sell our story, the potential of Pakistan.
So Pakistan hasn't improved much on the ease of doing business rankings. It is 136 as a matter of fact. So what do you think the government can do to have or create a more conducive business environment?
Clearly, ease of doing business has to be our top focus, right? We're 136. We've made significant improvement. For the last 10 years, we've been from 75, we've declined to 147. Only last year, right, has it improved from 147 to 136, which is a significant improvement. But we need to bring ourselves in the top 50 in this digital economy, right?
Yeah.
If we digitalize government, I think we can make this happen very, very quickly. In the next 3 to 5 years, we could be in the top 50. The kind of dividend that will create, right? Because who does the ease of business affect? It's basically a small and medium entrepreneur. The large entrepreneurs, they have, people, they have power. They can get things done. The small entrepreneur, medium entrepreneur, the growing entrepreneurs, they are the ones who get, stifled.
Yes.
So this will unleash this economy. Like I said, our number one focus should be to enable our entrepreneurial class, to get our economy to become much more productive, right? And a new kind of economy which makes sure enables the hopes and aspirations of our people, access to education, healthcare, energy, right? These are necessary, and new innovations will actually enable access to, like mobile phones made communication available to everybody. Same thing, because through the smartphones we'll make education, healthcare, and many other things accessible through it.
Pakistan's focus on industrialization and the development agenda that this government has, do you think Pakistan is prepared for economic disruption for the next 50 years to come?
This is a new knowledge economy. And in a knowledge economy, you need a country where education has to be a top priority, especially in science and technology. That we haven't made the investments over the last many years. And we can change that, right? Luckily, because of technology, now through smartphones, we can make it accessible to all. But education, science and technology, right, and entrepreneurship need to become a top priority. And we will then be able to take advantage of the disruptive opportunity of our times. We live in amazingly interesting times. The world in the next 20 years is going to dramatically change, right? Like I said, education is going to become close to free. Healthcare, even you will be able to do self-care, right? Massive changes are on the way. But we need to be able to enable the entrepreneurs who can bring these disruptive technologies to market, and local entrepreneurs need to do it. We can't have Google coming and doing everything. We want our local entrepreneurs solving these problems, not only for Pakistan, but for the other 5 billion poor people around the world.
Okay, so what steps should our current government take to meet these challenges?
I think one of the good things that happened is that a new committee, I know there are a lot of committees being formed, but the committee that the Prime Minister is going to be chairing on making Pakistan into a knowledge economy should be the most important thing, because from there, a lot of steps will emanate. Number one is really a focus on education, right? Massive investment in education, massive investment in technology, and massive investment in our entrepreneurs. Making capital available to our entrepreneurs. Right now, it's not available. In this country, there's a major lack. In Pakistan, venture capital only attracts about $50 million. India, $5 billion, right? So 1/100th of India we should be at least be 1/10 of it. So these are the areas where we need to put a lot more money, right? Because this is where the disruption will happen.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Zamindar. And once again, that was Mr. Naeem Zamindar joining us. Now let's move on to a quick break. We'll be back with more news. Thank you for staying with us. South Africa won the Boxing Day Test match against Pakistan by 6 wickets, chasing a total of 149 runs on the third day. Veteran batsman Hashim Amla scored 63 not out, while Dean Elgler got out after scoring half a century. The first test match was a bit of a mixed bag, but it was still dominated by lackluster batting performances by Pakistani middle order batsmen. Even though Babar Azam scored useful 71 runs in the first innings, the team could not capitalize on a small advantage by boasting a better total in the second innings. The coaching staff will be impressed by the bowling performances of all three fast bowlers: Mohammad Amir, who's making a comeback, the youngster Shaheen Shah Afridi, and the explosive Hassan Ali. But team selection has once again become a contentious issue, with some pointing out the mistake of including Yasir Shah ahead of Fahim Ashraf on a supposedly fast track that did not deteriorate much. There were also reports that Mickey Arthur, the Pakistani head coach, lashed out at the senior players during a team meeting after stumps on day 2. But PCB released a statement saying that team management strongly refutes the baseless allegations. Both the team captains' pair of ducks in both the innings of the match also resulted in an unusual record that they would like to forget about and move on. For the post-match analysis, we now join senior sports journalist Mr. Mirza Iqbal Baig. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Baig.
Thank you very much, Aisha.
So let's start with a simple question. What went wrong for Pakistan this game?
Actually, our batting line couldn't come up to the expectations. The way our batsmen batted, it looks like that a school team is playing. The way they got out on a rash shot, they didn't realize their responsibility. And I think our batting, the failure of our batting is the main cause of Pakistan defeat in this test match. Otherwise, our bowlers did quite well getting out to South Africa, giving them just a lead of 42 runs. But the batting in the second innings, the way our batsmen got out, it's really pathetic. And you must have come to know that there was a news that Mickey Arthur had an argument with the senior players in the dressing room when they came back to the dressing room, that how did they throw their wickets in such a devastating way. So it's really quite disappointing from Pakistan's point of view, but it was quite evident, Aisha, when Pakistan was going to play the test series in South Africa, everyone was saying that their wickets are very fast and it will be quite difficult for our batsmen to cope with the fast bowling of South Africans. We were lucky that Vernon Philander, who is their main bowler, he couldn't play because of his finger was broken. And the other new fast bowler, Dwan Olivier, he got 11 wickets in the match. And we always do like this. 5 years ago, when Pakistan played a test match against South Africa, at the same venue, there was a bowler called Kyle Abbott. He made his debut and took 9 wickets. So it's quite strange that our batsmen, because of their mistakes, they make hero the bowlers who are making their debut. It's quite really disappointing from Pakistani spectators' point of view and from Pakistan's cricket point of view.
So how should the team management resolve the conundrum of the batsman trio? Who should stay and who should be out?
The problem is this, that the nephew of the chief selector in Imamul Haq, his nephew's name is Imamul Haq, he is in the team. And the people are saying that there is somebody, they are not taking anyone's name, but there is somebody who doesn't want that the opening combination should be settled. Because I think a year ago, Sami Aslam, he's a quite brilliant batsman, he batted very well in the English condition, he has been dropped from the team. Abid Ali, another opener who's performing brilliantly at the domestic level, he was not included in the team. Khurram Manzoor, who was declared the best batsman of Quaid-e-Azam Trophy, he was not even selected for this tour. So there are so many things, you know. The opening combination is not settling down. What I feel that they want to accommodate, either they want to accommodate someone or they think that this is the best opening combination for them. There is some mystery behind that. Definitely Pakistan is suffering from this.
So what is going wrong with Pakistan middle batsman order, and what is up with Asad and Azhar and Captain Sarfaraz himself? So why haven't Pakistan been able to score good runs since the Misbah era?
You are absolutely right. The problem is this, that the consistency, they lack consistency. In one innings they perform and in the other inning they get failed, you know. Same is happening with Babar Azam. Although he is a young man, he scored brilliant 71 runs in the first innings, but in the second innings he got out cheaply. And the same problem is with Azhar Ali. He was the second highest scorer in the first innings, and in the second innings he got out. The way they are batting, you are absolutely right. You quite rightly pointed out, after the era of Yunus Khan and Misbah-ul-Haq, we are unable to form a quite reliable middle order batsman. Fawad Alam is a man there. They don't select him. I don't know what is the reason behind that. He is piling loads of runs in the domestic cricket, but despite that he is not been selected. And the middle order batsman Haris Sohail, he got injured when he went there before the test match. He got his knee injured and he couldn't play in the test match. So there is a time for the national selection committee to think about that how can we actually fulfill the absence of Yunus Khan and Misbah-ul-Haq after their retirement. It's quite challenging for the middle order batting.
So did the coach Mickey Arthur criticize the batsmen for giving up wickets too easily?
This was the news which came from the Pakistan's dressing room, and when there is a fire, there is smoke, definitely. So it looks like that something happened, because I talked to Mr. Qamar Ahmed, he's a senior journalist, he's in Centurion. He said that I don't know what exactly happened in the dressing room, but he pointed out that something must have gone wrong, because Mickey Arthur has got a very, you can say, he's a short-tempered man. His temperament is not good. He always gets angry on the plays, you know. Sohail Khan has been his victim in the past when he was the coach of Karachi Kings and Sohail was playing for that. So Mickey Arthur has got some sort of problem with the plays, you know. And when the plays, the way they got out, definitely Mickey Arthur did tell something to them, and the players got annoyed that, and there's something wrong. Definitely the smoke is coming, but completely the fire is not coming off, but people are saying that there's something wrong in the dressing room.
So was Pakistan not prepared for Dwayne Olivier, who came at Pakistani team with the bounce and pace, and he scored 11 wickets after all?
Pakistan was prepared, not prepared, because whenever Pakistan visits South Africa, as earlier I told you, we always get problem in acclimatizing with the conditions of the South African, with the understanding of the pitches. The pitches are quite fast over there, bouncy wickets are there, and in Pakistan, actually we are not playing too much cricket in Pakistan, but in UAE the pitches are very dull, docile, dead wickets. When we go from those dull and docile and dead wickets to South African conditions, it is quite difficult for our batsmen to actually stay over there, and that happened in first test match. Just 2.5 days a test match is finished. You can judge from the fact that the Pakistani batsmen, these sort of batsmen, that's why Pakistan team is called unpredictable team of the international cricket.
So what changes do you expect for the second test match, and what players do you think will be called back due to injury scares like Shadab Khan and Haris Sohail?
The selection committee hasn't given any sort of hint regarding that they'll be recalling some new players, but it looks that there might be 1 or 2 changes in the test match, because the bowlers did well in this test match. If we had given 200 more than 230 target to South Africa, it could have created problem for them, but the bowlers did well. The main problem is our batting. Shan Masood, who is an opener and he was put to bat at number 3, he played a brilliant inning yesterday, and the way they are playing, I don't know why Azhar Ali has given at number 4, because Azhar Ali is a good batsman. In every team of the world, they actually put their main batsman at number 3 position, but Azhar Ali dropped down to number 4. I don't know the reason, but there will be only 1 or 2 changes, Ayesha.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Baig. And once again, that was senior sports journalist Mirza Iqbal Baig. Now let's move on to a quick break. We'll be back with more news. Staying with us. When PTI came into power this year, one of the biggest promises for the incumbent government was to fulfill has been to attract foreign investment so that Pakistan could move to self-sustainability rather than a destructive path caused by an overt reliance on foreign loans. Attracting foreign investment in the forms of businesses and human resources remains a challenge, as the country is still battling uncertainty on all fronts. But this does not mean that no one has realized the potential of Pakistani business market. Tonight, we are going to be talking to a Japanese woman who is a successful entrepreneur making her name in the arena of cosmetics. She had moved to Pakistan for good in the March of 2016 and has stayed here. Behind Mihara's successful business venture in Pakistan is a touching story of a volunteer who wanted to help Pakistani people in any possible way. Her connection to Pakistan goes back to 2011, when Japan was hit by a powerful tsunami and she received a helping hand from her Pakistani neighbors in helping the affected Japanese people. Currently, apart from working for hygiene education, she is helping Japanese companies in learning about business opportunities in Pakistan. She is diligent and wants to work on her ideas related to social welfare, including opening free health clinics. Here to discuss more about her life, her passion, and her forward, we are now joined by Ms. Mihara herself. Welcome to the show, Ms. Mihara.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. मेरा नाम Mihara. Thank you for a good opportunity.
So in your previous interviews, you've said that a plate of biryani got you to Pakistan. So how did your journey begin?
That time, I'm sorry, I met first Pakistani people is 2011 that years. This वक्त तक I thinking, oh, Pakistan is a very dangerous country and maybe Pakistan people is a very dangerous because we have only negative image in Pakistan countries. But I met and we got very heartful Pakistani peoples and their heartful chicken biryani, Sindhi biryani. So my mind is changed. That time say I research Pakistan's market and Konsa country Pakistan. The research, but the बिल्कुल information nothing in Pakistan. Just travel, go to Hunza, the business information बिल्कुल नहीं. So I want visit in Pakistan directly, and I want direct to see this market and these countries, and the director I want meet and discuss Pakistani peoples. So I read some. Coming there Pakistan's chance and ready the informations. I came Pakistan first time is 2014 November Jetro's mission. That time I came Pakistan first time, but just to stay only 3 to 4 days. This is not enough for me. So that time, but Alhamdulillah, I have 1 year's business visa. Okay. Yes. So from next year, 2015 February, I came Pakistan only me alone. The coming इस वक्त से every month आते जाते. I visit Karachi, I visit Lahore, I visit Sialkot and Islamabad, and I research. This country had the concert opportunity and the concert product and the concert situations. That time I met another good Pakistani people also in here. These people say very heartful word for me. So that time I decided, my life bet in Pakistan. I negotiate with my mother. I want visit, I want live in, I want shift in Pakistan. If possible, you also coming with me. That time my mother age is 79 years old. That's so very difficult situation for my family. But she also feeling every month I visit Pakistan. I come back to Tokyo. But I'm very not stressed. Every time I come back to my house, that time she saw little fat me because biryani and the Pakistani food is very tasty. That's so she's thinking, maybe Pakistan is not a danger country and very tasty food also. And my daughter is maybe happiness. That's so okay. I decided me also go to Pakistan with you. So that time me and my mother and my dog also to 2016 March we shift from Tokyo to Karachi.
So could you tell us more about what you do as an entrepreneur and what brought you to Pakistan in terms of economic opportunities?
I came Pakistan first time. That time, and I saw Pakistani market and their people and their cultures. That time, first impression. My first impression is this country have so many big opportunity, but maybe positive promotion is थोड़ा अच्छा नहीं है for outside country. So maybe in Japan, we got just only terrorism and acid attack also, just only negative information from Pakistan side. But real Pakistan is a big different. So I coming here, and if my company's work is grow up, different Japanese company also maybe coming is easy because my company is a very small company, not a big company, but a small company people and the Japanese all at only one person coming here. If grow up the business, this is not difficult. Maybe Japanese company, other companies person also thinking. If Japanese company coming and if Yahan say Naya company banana, Naya factory banana, to pay more Pakistani employee is very big size. This is very good.
So how did you initially start your business venture, Makotoya, which is a cosmetics line, I believe? Where did the inspiration come from?
Actually, Makotoya is Japanese name, and Makoto matlab honest and trusty and judo bilkul bol nahi. And Makotoya, ya matlab like a wara, chai wara, like this style. My company is just to focus trust and honest. Almost Pakistani people is very trusty and heartwarm and very straight. So I think maybe my company's name also, if adjust to this countries, this is better for me.
So how has your experience been in Pakistan so far? How are you finding the people? How are you finding the culture?
I like Pakistani culture also, for example, clothes also, and cricket game also, and for example, mango is, I think, worldwide one, and Pakistani food also very nice, and in Pakistan have very long histories before Mughal also, and I met actually why I came here and strong decided. This reason by one another Pakistani people in Karachi. This time I met one army doctors in Jinnah Hospital, 2015 Ramadan. Wow. That time in Karachi and Sindh get the very strong heat wave. So 1 week almost 1,000 logon de detoga etokia. That time if I can some help for hospital side. So I just visit Jinnah Hospital. That time one army's doctor here. We met this time. That time he understand me. You are Japanese. That's time, yes, I'm Japanese. Toperu, he said, ご機嫌いかがですか? ご機嫌いかがですか? This is Japanese zaban. The mean is how are you? ギャハルヘイ。で、I'm very surprised. で、why you know this word ご機嫌いかがですか? Japanese. But he said, if we also go to Japan earthquake area and some rescue, that time I won't say the natural disasters areas patient. That's why he learning other word also もう大丈夫です。もう大丈夫です is no worry, don't worry. ビルクル TK 小山さん like this means. This means also he remembers 4 years. But でも this is アスアガイもう very surprised and that time I decided strong. I came Pakistan. That's so near future and now also I want speaking and talking to Japanese people. Pakistan is not the only danger country. It's very heartwarming person. もうबहुत ज़्यादा है.
And lastly, I would like to ask you, so what do you have to say for those Japanese investors that want to invest in Pakistan but are afraid to? What would you say for those trying to make a bridge between Pakistan and Japan?
Yes, near future, if possible, I want to become like a bridge, Pakistan and Japan's positive image bridge. So sometimes I visit Japan business trip. That time I have some symposium and seminar. That time I speak about Pakistan country and about Pakistan's economic. That time audience say, oh, our Pakistan's image is a bit change. Very because I live in here. I say direct. Their Pakistan's situation. So that member also Japanese other company people also, oh, we have now very interest in Pakistan's market. So that time I said, please come direct and direct to see by your eyes in Pakistan's market. The to Peru definitely. Good opportunity, both countries, Pakistan also, Japan also. So I want to try more strong bridge, Pakistan and Japan now.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Mihara, and I wish you luck in your journey. And that is all for tonight. Be sure to tune back in tomorrow, where we'll take you beyond the news.